Hi, everybody, and welcome to ScienceGal Aquatic Live. I'm Kerri, and I have a extra special guest tonight. He's a huge community builder and someone that I look up to and a huge friend of mine. We have Rack from River Life. Welcome to the stream. Hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for asking me, Kerri. I'm happy to be here. And you were a guest on my live stream. So I owed you one. And I appreciate you letting me come on and say hello to your folks.
Well, thank you so much. I really kind of wanted, honestly, to continue your conversation from your stream last night and just talk about koi ponds because my koi actually are outgrowing my pond. I'm kind of in the same situation you are. I think
do that.
I need to think about upgrading sooner than later. So I have 4 koi and a goldfish in I believe it's a 250-gallon pond outside, and then a bunch of rosy red minnows in that pond too. And they're slowly kind of outgrown. I've had them since they were little bitty. I got them from PetSmart. So I've had them, I think this is my 3rd year with them outside, and I feel like they're getting to sexual maturity. So I'm hoping maybe to breed them and get some babies soon, just because I've always wanted to have enough space to have them. So now that I do, I'm really excited to just kind of see what happens. So
I wish you the best. I hope you do. And if so, maybe you'll get a bunch.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Start a new wave.
It's a new adventure and I'm excited, but I'm still kind of cautious too, because I want to make sure I have enough room for them.
Right. So what type of an upgrade are you thinking about?
Well, about the time I decide, I change my mind.
Right.
So we have a bunch of I don't have a huge amount of room in the backyard, but we have quite a bit of empty space that we can totally upgrade the pond. But I don't know if I want to do more of a just bigger pond and have them separate, or have a bigger pond and have them connected, or do like a lazy river type pond where it's more like a stream and connect them. So I don't know.
Well, I've been consuming a lot of pond content on YouTube the last couple of weeks, and anything you can imagine, there's an example to look at on YouTube.
And then going to Aqualand, my ideas are huge. At first we wanted to have a pond and have a big, I don't know, grotto style where you could kind of go underneath it, I guess. So it would have a shady spot too. Our ideas were huge coming back from Aqualand, but the prize kind of.
I do. Yes.
So, but the kids could use a swimming pool too. So I'm like, well, we could always make a swimming pond because the kids like fish.
Recreational pond.
So
with fish in it. How awesome is that?
So really, there's so many ideas, and about the time you decide, you're like, well, that looks cool too.
Yeah, I love it up there at Aqualand. It's very inspiring. That pond up there is nearly 1 million gallons and has every feature you can imagine. The setting is beautiful. The landscaping is outrageous.
Yeah.
And so I know on my live stream last night, someone, Soggy Pits, put a picture on the River Life Community Tank Live Facebook group about the pond that he built in his backyard, and it is stunning. And I think he did the work, so it was very affordable, but it looks like a professional job, and it's definitely a lifestyle piece. One of the pictures that he took, you can see his bare foot propped up in the foreground of the picture with that beautiful pond in the background. And I, of course, I'm interested, like you are, to have a larger space for my fish.
Yes.
But while we're at it, why not make it a space that we enjoy living in?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Yes.
we spend a lot of our time outdoors together, and we don't want to have a pond that is a nuisance. You know,
Right.
we want to have a beautiful lifestyle feature that enhances our quality of life.
Yes.
So, and I think so now pond companies, the really good pond companies understand that. They take full advantage of, hey, we're selling a lifestyle here, not just some rubber liner and a few rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've even mentioned to Jesse, I'm like, we could use it as a swimming pool for a couple of years, and then when the kids get older, we can just put tons of really cool fish in it, or we could figure out how they could like cohabitate with each other.
Well, I've looked at a lot of recreational ponds that have koi in them and swimming features that made for people to swim in, but they're larger. You know, it's a larger scale pond.
Yes, because we have a pretty large backyard, honestly. It's one of the largest on the street. So I'm kind of lucky. And half of it's pea gravel and half of it's grass.
Okay.
So all of the pea gravel that's next to the pond I have now is empty space. So I could probably honestly put like 3 times the pond I have now back there easily.
Now, do you have an in-ground pond now, Kerri?
I have the one I say is a pond is in ground. And then I have 2 300-gallon ponds that I would like to put in the ground because I think it does help with like holding temperature.
Oh yeah, geothermal benefit is tremendous if you're in ground there. So how big is your pond that you have in ground now?
We have a debate about it every time we talk about it. It's between like 250 and 300 gallons.
Okay. And then, how is that to maintain?
It's a lot easier than the above ground tubs.
You think it's because of the temperature regulation?
Well, yeah, and I believe, if I remember right, it was here when Jesse moved into the house, but no one took care of it. So it took me, like, I spent one summer cleaning it and getting it prepped, and then the fish didn't do well. So I pulled all the fish out, and then the next year I got it prepped again and waited to the end, kind of midsummer, if I remember right, to put more goldfish in it. And it kind of turned over between then, and then it worked out great. So there was there was some waiting period. So
yeah,
I don't know if once I do finally decide to like what I want, should you move the koi or just kind of like wait it out and then move them, or if I connect them with, it's like it's a bunch of my mind just races because I don't know.
I think there are options for any way you want to go, just like in your fish room with smaller tanks. I don't think any of the major pond installers are recommending you wait a year.
Yeah.
So I mean, you introduce some bacteria. There are even automatic drip, dosers for ponds now that keep that activated, especially important when it's a new pond. And once you get that thing settled, I understand that string algae is something you can expect a lot of when you first get set up.
Yeah.
But then, it's easy to clean out. It's such a long string. You just ball it up like a ball of yarn.
Yeah.
And then each time after that first time, it's less and less until eventually it's just a healthy benefit. There's so little of it. It's just another biofilter.
Because I have a little bit of like hair algae along the liner, but it doesn't grow as out of control as in the fish room. But I have, the water is green water. Even with I have a UV sterilizer that I put on it last year that helps, but the water's still green. It's just clearer. But I don't have.
Yeah. Is it in shade or full sun? What's your situation?
It's kind of half and half.
Yeah.
It spends half the day in shade, and then the other half of the day is complete direct sunlight. I had
my at the river house we just moved out of, I had mostly, well, I would say 90% shade. Direct sunlight was like less than 10% of the photo period. And never, the entire pond was never in full sun at the same time. And I would say that we had radical water fluctuations for the first year. And then as the beneficial bacteria, algae, and whatever began to grow on the sides and the bottom of the, it was a Rubbermaid stock tank. So it's kind of plastic, and I didn't use a substrate.
Yes.
But then the second year, the water was a lot more stable. When I did the spring clean, the open up, and put the UV sterilizer on it just long enough to get the green out of the water. It takes maybe a week. And wow. And the water stayed crystal clear.
Yes.
Until I went on vacation, and maybe the fish were overfed or something, or maybe it just got warmer. It's a warmer time of year. And then it crashed again. But then it was just going through the water changes and the UV sterilizer to bring the water quality back. And then that was it. After that first year of ups and downs, the second year was a lot more stable.
Yeah. It took a little bit of time, and I wasn't expecting that. I assumed because it was here for so long, it was just instantly ready for fish, but it was not.
Right.
It was not. Because I recently took what I had out for a filter, but I had a pump and then like a Rubbermaid little container full of media, and then it connected to the UV sterilizer and then down the little waterfall. But because the koi I felt like needed more swimming room, and the pond had been doing well for so long, I within the week took it out. And so now it's just the little pump. It's not got all the media because it took up quite a bit of swimming space, but now I'm just trying to give them as much shade. I
did a little sit on top spillover filter with trays of lava rock that it never really took off. I don't know if an inconsistent water level or temperature or whatever that didn't ever get the, I guess, beneficial bacteria growth I needed in those racks. And so that was the first time I set that 300-gallon stock tank up. And so when we moved to the river house, I set it up with a Fluval. Is it FX6? Is that the big one?
I think so. I have an FX4.
Yeah, I think it's a 6 that I put on that 300-gallon pond. And it does an adequate job in the Rubbermaid pond. I mean, if you don't overfeed and you do a little bit of maintenance on that thing, but now I'll say this, keeping koi in that thing after that pump running for a year on the spring clean out, there wasn't getting all the smell out of the foam pads.
Yeah. And
so I decided, and it's not an inexpensive choice, but I bought new foam pads for all the trays. I sacrificed some beneficial bacteria there, but the center of those trays are all filled with media. So I had plenty. Yeah. I had plenty of beneficial bacteria in that filter.
Yeah. I got an FX4 for the Arowana tank because of your video.
Which video?
I don't remember what video it was, but you had some Fluval, and I am a person that loves gadgets, and I'm like, well, if it works for rack.
Yeah, so I do have an FX4. I have it on my 75-gallon Goldfish tank. And just doing an outstanding job. And goldfish are a bit messy too.
Yes. Yeah. It's
that FX system is just bulletproof. I mean, it's not rocket science. There's some ingenuity going on, don't get me wrong, but man, I mean, you turn it on, plug it in, it works.
Yes, because at first, for some reason, I had it in my head that you had to drill your tank to use those. I don't know why. I guess I've watched too many videos of people like drilling their tanks and making them fancy, but I finally was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Surely there's a way. And then it was a lot simpler than I expected.
Easy setup, easy use. I think I have several other canister filters, and they're noticeably smaller. Those things require some space, but if you're going to put them on a larger tank anyway, there's usually space in the cabinet or under the stand. And I'm a believer in that FX model. Just plug it in, let it work, and then the maintenance. I mean, there's a few screws to turn. It's not like a hang on the back filter where you just slip in and out. But then once you get the lid off, and you'd rather have more screws to fool with than a leaking filter, it does everything lifts out as one piece. And another compliment I'll pay that system is the quietness. Very impressed at how I've had smaller canister filters that were much noisier.
I will pay the extra money if it's quiet, because
that has a value.
My mom growing up, she didn't mind us having a bunch of fish tanks as long as she couldn't hear it. So I always used like the Tetra type. It was easy to get, and it was the whisper ones are quiet. So that's what I've always used. And that one really is, because it's in the dining room. So a lot of people have to talk. And if you have to scream to talk over it, it's not going to last very long. And it's been great. It's been great.
It's an interruption instead of an enhancement at that point.
Yeah. And everybody walks into the dining room. We had some visitors today. Jesse had to go to a funeral today. So we had some visitors that came over and picked them up. And as soon as they walked in that room, they weren't expecting to see like a room full of fish tanks. And he was like, "Oh my goodness, what is this?" I was like, "Oh, meet my arowana." He's like, "That's cool, but that's a weird fish." I was like,
"Yeah, look at that weird fish."
He enjoyed it though. It's a talking point. Everybody that walks in, because Lucy, it's a freshwater lionfish that's in brackish water that looks like a frog. And then the arowana, cool. And then I have a 75-gallon up there that I stripped out all the gravel. It was the perch tank.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I moved the perch outside, but I think the perch got attacked by some kind of bird or something because it's no longer here.
Oh, I see.
So I'm turning that 75-gallon into the goldfish tank, and I'm moving all the goldfish from my 30-gallon bow front upstairs to the 75-gallon. But now I had a plan, but now that the perch is gone, unfortunately, I have that whole tub open, and I was like, well, the goldfish and the koi do so well outside that maybe I should use that tub for them and get something else for the 75-gallon. But I'm so indecisive.
I know. But eventually you'll land on a decision and you'll enjoy it whichever direction you go.
Because the only holdup is one of those goldfish is like 12 to 13 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And for some reason, I have it in my head that if I move him, even though all the water parameters are the same, that I just have it in my head that it's more delicate. I don't know. Do you have any advice for moving really old goldfish?
No, I know it's a risk.
I mean,
just stressing them, catching them, moving them.
Yes. I don't know. I'm just so indecisive. I want to give them a better home, but they're so used to this home that,
Yeah, I think if the water parameters are close, and especially the temperature, and their proper methods in moving the fish, especially if it's on the same, residence, it should be okay.
Yeah, they have so much better room, so much more room. I feel like in my gut, it'll be okay. Yeah. But at the same time, I would just be devastated if anything happens to that goldfish. You get so attached. We did get a super chat from Tater Salad, I believe.
All right. Thank you, Tater Salad.
But just because he said. So thank you. Say hi to everybody in the chat. I get to talking and then I just talk.
Well, you've got some great folks over there in chat. I've been checking them out. The Zen Ginger's here. Kaler's Aquatics. Several of the Lefty 3213A, several Fish Room Fever. I see a lot of mods for my channel in here.
I
It's
know,
like
I
this
needed
community is overlapping. I love it.
Yeah, this community, like I say it pretty much every time I'm on a stream, but if it wasn't for this community, I wouldn't be on YouTube.
Yeah.
This community, it's some really great people.
I concur. Holly Gibbs, I don't know if I recognize Holly Gibbs or not, but she made a comment in chat and said all of my koi are in my pool. They love it, but it's getting hot and need a lot of energy to dig a new pond for them. And then Bob Kaler said, "Is there any way to cover it?" Which that's step number one. And Holly said, no, it's getting hot for me. I need to get them out of my pool so I can have the pool back.
We have a bunch of kids that we're like the neighborhood hangout. So the kids, when they do swim, get really crazy. So, but welcome everybody. Hello. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for being here.
So, do you have koi also, Kerri?
Yeah, I have 4.
Okay.
I have no idea what kind they are. I'm not good at like knowing which ones are what kind. But I have 4, and then I have a goldfish that I put in there a couple of years ago too, I believe, with the koi that's gotten quite large.
Nice.
And then I don't even know how many rosy red minnows are in there. I got them from PetSmart too. And when you get them, they're so little and skinny and sad kind of looking. And these minnows now, they're almost just as big as the goldfish.
Wow. How big are they?
They're probably like 3 to 4 inches, some of them. And then they take it down.
Minnow.
Yeah, they look, when I bring them into the fish room, they don't do well. They don't do well at all. But when I put them in the pond, they grow like crazy.
Wow.
And you can see them scratching up against the side. I assume they're like putting eggs on the side, but they just kind of go up and it looks like they're scratching. But yeah, there's tons of
so are your koi long finned or just the regular koi?
Regular.
Do you like the butterfly koi?
I do. And
they're my favorite.
Yes, if I can
they're not traditional and they're not the highest valued, but they're my favorite.
Pretty. They're really pretty. Yeah. I have one that's more of like a calico. One that's kind of like a black and silver. One that's a black and gold kind of tiger stripe that's a runt that they would not let him swim with the group for a while. Now that he's bigger, he's kind of swimming in the group now. So I feel good.
That's funny.
The other one's more orange than anything, I believe. It's got a little bit of a different color, but it's definitely more of like that orangey gold color.
Well, I know enough about koi to get myself in trouble if I tried to talk about them. But I went to that Central Florida koi and goldfish show. It's a pretty big deal, international stuff going on there. And this one koi club had a flyer they were giving away that explained the types of koi and the names. And I guess I was familiar with the big 3, the orange and white, and then the orange, white, and black with varying degrees of black. They had some cool Japanese names, you could sling around like you knew something. But this club, it was a 6-page handout. It was just one vocabulary word after the other. So many different words for red, so many different words for black, and the styles and the types of kois and hybrids. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stay over here in the shallow end.
I remember watching that live stream that you did when you were there, and I was kind of like overly excited to watch it.
Well, I was excited to be there myself.
I want to be there. I've never been to the ocean, so I'm dying to go to like any type of show at the ocean. Like if there's any type of fish show, because it was in Florida, wasn't it? I feel like it was in Florida. Yeah,
it was in Orlando, the Central Florida. And so, one day we're big bird watchers too. We drove over to the coast and went birding at Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, which includes Canaveral National Seashore over there at Cape Canaveral, where they launch spacecraft and such.
Yes, I watched the last one.
Yeah, so I like to consider getting a NASA T-shirt every time I'm there, and I never do. I don't know why. Every time, I'd like to get a NASA T-shirt. I haven't ever gotten one. But in that little town, there's a seafood restaurant called Dixie Crossroads.
Stars all over me because
you're the star girl. Okay. Well, so you get it. Yeah. The galactic draw. I've got it, but I don't act on it. But there's this little seafood restaurant there called Dixie Crossroads, and it's world famous for rock shrimp. So I go into Merritt Island there and do my bird watching. I'm all excited. I'm going to see some cool birds. I'm going to see the ocean. I'm going to get a NASA T-shirt. And then by the end of the day, I'm starving to death, and all bets are off. Let's go to the restaurant. And they have a lot of NASA paraphernalia, but they don't sell NASA T-shirts. So I always end my day there with seafood and no T-shirt.
Oh, I'm dying to go. I just want to go so bad. I'm looking for any reason to go, but like fish, hair, and astronomy are probably like my top hobbies.
My wife is in the chat. Hello, River Wife. And she's telling everyone we also saw manatee while we were over there at Merritt Island. That was kind of special. That's a huge water mammal.
Yeah, it's one thing to like see them in the documentaries, but to see them in real life, like I will probably spend the whole vacation when I do go in like awe and shock. And then when I get home, I'll finally be like, that was so cool.
Well, I hope you make it soon, Kerri. I know you'll enjoy it.
Because isn't the Live Bears Association, isn't there a live bear show down in Florida too?
Maybe it moves around.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I thought there was something else in Florida that is like, well, it looks like I just need to go.
Yeah, you do. You just need to go. Just go, then figure out a reason once you get there.
Yeah, and all the like seashells I can bring back. I think they would look really cool in the aquariums. It looks Jeffro's here. Oh my gosh. Hi, Haley. I saw Haley pop in too. Hi, Haley. About Jeffro Fish Keeping's here. Welcome. Hi, stranger.
Hey, Jeff Rose. How you doing, buddy? Long time no see.
Yes. Hello. I need to talk to him about Cheese Creek Pleco soon.
Yeah. Jeff Rose, do you still have fish? You're still up to your eyeballs in plecos?
I bet he does. I bet he still has a room full. Fish Tank Barn, hello.
Fish Tank Barn is doing some fish keeping outdoors seasonally up there in Michigan.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are doing summer tubbing this year, and it's really fun. It's just really fun.
I think we ought to talk more about it and get more people into it. That's how we come up with new ideas, and we're a pretty good community as far as sharing information goes. The Fish Tank Barn has some info for you there.
Where's that? The library show was supposed to be in Florida this year, but canceled due to the virus. I figured it was probably postponed.
But it's going back in 2022. You got time to save up. Get your reservations now.
Put that up there. Yeah. As soon as I figured there'd be a lot of holdups on shows and stuff now, but it's sometime maybe next year, hopefully, we can all get together and go.
Now, remind me, what state are you in, Kerri?
I'm in Missouri.
Okay. And so you get a pretty hot summer there, right?
We do. It went from being pretty cold and like 65, 70 to 90.
Yeah. Boom. No spring.
Overnight. And I've been like, today is kind of like a rough day because I'm already behind on videos. And my newest video was supposed to be actually showing moving all of the fish outside. And my software ate it today. I was all done. And I was like, upload. And then I went to open the video, and it said there was some kind of like not enough storage or something. And then it wouldn't let me open it. So I'm trying to piece together my video really quick of moving the fish outside. So I'm already kind of late. And I had my little cry session. Oh, what am I going to do? And then I just got over it. And so I'm starting piecing.
Well, speaking of videos, my last video tanked.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'll do it again. But as far as appeasing the algorithm and drawing attention, it did not.
Yeah.
But I filmed for about 30 minutes my goldfish swimming at night under different light, and then found some chill music to set them to. And it's just it's a relaxation video. I've always wanted to do one. I'm so glad I did. But as far as performance goes, it was like nobody got to see that video. I don't know. I got kicked out of the algorithm, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like the videos that I get like overly excited, I'm like, I cannot wait. I did such a great job. No. And then the ones that like this, it probably will go over better because I'm not worried about anything. I'm not second guessing myself. I'm just getting it done, showing you guys the information that I need to show you, not putting all the others, just getting it done. And it usually goes over better. I can't say for sure, but
I don't know. All I know is I do videos the way I would like to see them. I think this would be not. And who doesn't need some relaxation?
I know.
Riverwife said I should hashtag, and I did hashtag watch twice daily for stress.
I'm one of those people that really enjoy classical music. Like music in the car makes me anxious. So I don't listen to music in the car. I usually have no TVs on, like just ruckus and noise makes me to where my pulse gets a little racy. So I really wanted to do like film some of the guppy, showcase some of the tanks and put it to classical type music because that's something I enjoy. But most of the people around me don't like classical music.
Right.
They don't appreciate rewatching the video when I'm done. But I really find it relaxing to kind of put it on in the background while I water change or I clean or I do something. It's a little bit more peaceful, but who knows? I listen to classical and 80s hair rock music.
What else do you need?
I know. Like 80s music is far better than anything we have today. I'm sorry. I just have to say.
Yeah, I think music reached its pinnacle in the 80s.
Yeah, but it's a select time. It's usually kind of more on the quiet side, but every once in a while you have to turn it up and rock out to some Cher and, Guns N' Roses type of stuff. You just have to. But I don't know how YouTube would like it, but I would appreciate it.
I wonder if fish like music. Mine have never complained.
Yeah, who knows? They probably like it better than the Nerf gun fights that happen in the basement.
Pete Mang, he used to always say loud music. Fish like loud music. He was an excellent fish keeper. Still is, I guess. I think he's running a shop in New York now. But he was on Aquabid as Lots of Fish forever. Really? And he was dialed in. It was so hard to win one of his auctions. They went for huge money. And the guy was just a fish guru. And he's the one that really encouraged me to use 5-gallon buckets as fish holders, and told me that he used them for quarantine tanks, hospital tanks, rearing fry, breeding fish, spawning fish, and then sometimes just in general if the fish. And so I heard him say that and thought, well, you must have to be a master aquarist or something to get by with that in a 5-gallon. But really, you just need a couple of pieces of information and a list of fish that look really cool in a bucket. So my aquarium video, a 5-gallon bucket aquarium, which I think is an excellent gateway that can draw anybody into our hobby. Well, it's not really that expensive if you got a 5-gallon bucket. Food grade is really cool. Rinse it out and put in a filter and watch a few videos, and you're a fish keeper.
Yeah, it's really a secret weapon in the fish room. You can't have too many of them.
And speaking of gateways, I know you're a big guppy enthusiast also.
Yeah.
And we're just now wrapping up a little push we did through the spring and into early summer, Project Posilia.
Mm-hmm.
Did a Facebook group and had an art contest. Any video or piece of art or photograph, didn't even have to be your fish, just to heighten awareness about these beautiful little live bearers that teach us really good habits as aquarists and some propagation technique, as well as husbandry in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an important plank in our platform as FishTube, FishFam, is help putting information out there that helps new people get on board if they want to.
Yes.
And guppies, I just don't think there's a better way to do that. Even if it's not as flashy as, say, a betta, I think the guppy has more to offer as far as getting you further along the learning curve.
Yes. And once you see those fry, you're hooked.
And you will see those fry. If you get those guppies going in a healthy water system, you will see those fry.
Yes. Because my dad growing up, he had this, I have the 30-gallon aquarium in the fish room that I had in the living room growing up. And he had probably fish that shouldn't have been together by the rules. But
by the rules, yeah.
Yeah. He had I think it was a red-tailed shark and a gourami and angelfish, and I think he had a bunch of tetra. Like, just over the years of growing up, he had everything in that tank. And then in my room, I had guppy tanks along every wall, and they were all cold water. I didn't have heaters in them at the time. They had some hang on the back, the tetra filters growing up, but they were everywhere. And I only wanted guppies, and then I got snails, so then the snails boomed. So it was guppies and snails, but I had them in my room growing up my entire childhood.
That's cool.
And that's what me and my dad did. We took care of the fish tanks, and that was the special trip we did together. Was we went to the fish store like once a month.
That is awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah, and like I said, some of this stuff, probably, knowing what I know now, probably shouldn't have worked, but it did.
Well, my first job, I worked at a local fish store. It was my first job as a teenager. And I was, I was the grunt. Change the water, clean the tank, clean the filter. But I know how the system worked, and it was like, the manager would tell the customer, don't put this fish with other fish. And the only fish he ever attached to that were Oscars and Jack Dempsey's. And if that fish was not an Oscar or a Jack Dempsey, it would do just fine. So every kind of shark, rope fish, wild, smaller cichlid, live bear, throw them in there.
Yeah. Like, now I keep everything separate, but I might eventually make another community tank. I know my dad's I haven't checked on those angelfish since all the quarantine happened, because my dad with the brain injury, I don't go over there too often, just to kind of drop off things here and there, but just to be safe. So I haven't checked on that tank in a while, and there was 5 or 6 marbled angelfish and 15 neon tetra, but the angelfish at the time were teeny tiny, so they were all getting along. But now they're probably not teeny tiny. So if I do move those goldfish that I have down here outside, I'll probably, when I go over there and I actually take care of that tank again, bring some back home, make that 75-gallon some angelfish tanks, like an angelfish tank. But I haven't had angelfish in a long time.
No, I haven't either, now that you mentioned it.
But my dad always loved angelfish and neon tetra together. Loved it. But I know when I go over there, some of them need to go. Some of them just need to be separated. He said they've paired off a little bit, but
Well, you mentioned you may have a community tank again in the future. I've
Right.
actually made the turn. I've
Did
cycled
ya?
through years of project tanks, and
Mhm.
now I'm consolidating and going back. I'm looking for a large community tank. Probably the Goldfish tank will become a 75-gallon community tank, and I'll get the Goldfish a larger tank and maybe add one or two Goldfish.
Mhm.
And that will be um, that and the pond. Okay, when you throw a pond in there, now you just added another couple thousand gallons to your inventory. But as far as indoor tanks go, there'll be two display tanks, a large Goldfish tank and a large community tank. And I won't say that's the end. You know, it's never the end. Even if
Mhm.
I planned it, I know that there will be more tanks than that.
Yeah.
But I don't have any. The only projects I want to do now would be temporarily removing fish from the community tank to do content projects like
Mhm.
spawning techniques, and
Mhm.
then reintroducing the fish to the community tank.
Mhm.
So there's the big reveal right here on ScienceGal Aquatics.
Special news dropping here.
Stand by for content.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that sounds exciting. There's always something to do. About the time I get everything lined out, there's something else to do. And really, like, I'm so indecisive. The hardest part about the whole thing is just making up my mind.
So true. And every time I go to a fish store, I find a new idea.
Yes.
Oh, I could do this, or this would work with that. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to get more.
sometimes I need blinders. Just don't look.
I know. I want to get all the different type of live bears too. Some that I've heard of, but I haven't seen, and then some I seen, but I got outbid. Because I've kept the platies, the mollies, the swordtails, and the guppies, but I know there's a couple. There's splendens, I believe, out there that I would like to keep. I would kind of like to have a fish room full of just live bears down here in the fish room, then upstairs have some bigger monster fish.
Well, all of a sudden, I want koi panda angelfish
Those would be cool.
because the Zen Ginger in your chat said, "Oh, I got hundreds."
Yeah, Zen Ginger, she has.
Well, I could get some of those.
I'm jealous. I've got these calico koi swordtails that are growing, and they're getting their swords are developing so well, and they're.
Right.
Every time I look in that, they're in a 20 long. Every time I look in that tank, they're more and more beautiful. I was like, man, I'm glad I got those. Those are nice. And
I've had a couple of different species of swordtails from Greg Sage.
Uh-huh.
And the last one was the Mayae, Mayae, and they were stunners.
Mm-hmm.
Stocky built fish, and they finally bred for me.
Mm-hmm.
That male colored up. It was amazing.
Yes. It's just every time you go, there's something new that I just have to have at the fish store. But they haven't had, I've been there once, I believe, recently to get some veggie rounds, but they haven't got a lot of new things yet in because of everything. So hopefully soon. I have some tanks I need to fill quickly.
Right.
And I keep going to Aquabid. I've got an account now on Aquabid, but I haven't won an auction. I get outbid. So it's coming soon. I'm going to win. I'm going to get some cool new additions.
What are some things you're bidding on but getting outbid?
The Splendens.
Yeah, amethyst splendens. And does Greg Sage have them in stock right now?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
He's been line breeding his for a while, selecting for brighter and more yellow. They're very pretty.
Yeah, I bet homegrown, they're always. You can tell at the fish store, we have a couple local breeders that they get some shrimp from and a couple of the guppies. And I think there's one other, I can't remember now, that they get locally bred and instead of shipping in. And you can tell they look so much healthier. Like just, they're way better.
I think sometimes we're a bad influence on each other.
No, you guys don't tell me no.
Have you seen this video of this really cool fish that you didn't need and you don't even know you need it yet until you watch this video?
I'll get messages every once in a while, or I'll send out a message every once in a while. It's like, do I need this? Yes. And then they'll be like, do I need this? Of course you do.
Every time I watch one of King and Queen Cichlids videos, I love Scott and Liz. Every time I watch one of Scott's videos, all of a sudden, I'm thinking of space where I could put a giant predator tank.
I know.
And I've never had a predator fish. Well, I probably have here and there, but I've never kept a predator species or bred it and never focused on them. But every time I see his video, it's like, well, I could put this in that room and move this over here. Then I could have a big cichlid tank.
I am doing all I can to like rearrange down here to justify a 50-gallon lowboy. Do I need it? Absolutely not. Do I want it? Of course. Do I have the room? No.
What are you going to put in a 50-gallon lowboy? Or
no idea. But you know what? It's coming in my life soon.
And you know what I have? I have a 50-gallon lowboy Rubbermaid stock tank. And I've kept fish in it indoors and outdoors. And they both did very well. And outdoors, I'll tell you what that thing is awesome at, growing plants. Because it's not very deep. Unbelievable. But well, you can keep your koi, your goldfish for a limited time. In the shade. I did breed neon swordtails, some platies, and endlers in that thing in a community style tank. Yeah, and the food I found that did pretty well was the rapashi.
I've got to try that. Everybody talks about it. I haven't physically seen it in person to buy it yet.
I think I ordered it off of the website directly, or maybe from Aquarium Co-op.
Okay, because I didn't know if it was something that I could pick up in a store somewhere if you had to order it. But everybody that uses it seems to really enjoy it.
Well, either my fish were hit or miss. They loved it or they wouldn't touch it.
Okay.
But the thing about it was like one of those soft vacation blocks. So you could leave it in there for a few days and it didn't spoil right away.
I'll have to try it because I'm a food. I have this whole thing behind me right here.
Yeah.
And that's nothing but food.
I've got a bucket full of food.
The new bug blight flakes. Have you seen that yet? There's a tropical flakes, spirulina flakes, and another flake that I can't read. It's too far away.
Sounds good.
I got 3 different kinds that I am anticipating to feed to see how they like it.
Dragon Layer says we're a bad influence on him too.
I know. We're like, of course you need that. Buy it. Do it. There's a new fish store here. That's another couple of towns. It's about 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away that I just found out about. I don't know. I think they opened last year, but I'm not sure. But they have 300 to 400 different tanks that you can buy. And then they have an outside pond area that has a bunch of pond plants. So I'm hopefully can go tomorrow. They have slightly different hours, but the only place I have to buy pond plants is Lowe's here. They have one little area for water lilies. I've tried the water lettuce in the past, and I've had horrible luck with the water lettuce.
How come?
I think I got the tops of them too wet because I just learned recently you're not supposed to get the tops of them wet.
Were the fish eating the roots? Probably.
It's cold.
I got one of those
but
perforated pond pots.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay.
Then put some foam on the outside, like a little miniature pool noodle.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah, and I keep some duckweed in there, and then when the duckweed gets real thick, I'll tip it over and let the duckweed be a little snack for the koi, and it protects the roots of the water lettuce.
It's a beautiful plant.
Well, it's excellent filtration. root system grows down if you can keep the koi off of it.
Yeah, because we had some potato, I think they're sweet potato vines that kind of grew. I let grow around it and kind of and they munched on that all the time. And to me, like feeding the koi and listening to them eat, they're such loud eaters.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, I get a kick out of it. It always makes me really tickled in the morning when I feed them to listen to them slurp. But they love that sweet potato vine. So I'm assuming between like splashing and rain and then munching on it because they eat everything. I buy it every year, put it in there, and by the end of the summer, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's just completely gone. So I'm hoping there's something there that I can try that might work.
You know, I heard the same thing about goldfish. Don't put any tender-leafed plants in your gold. But I wanted a beautiful goldfish tank, even if the goldfish ate the plants. Well, good for the goldfish, bad for the plants. Sorry, I hit my mic. But if you'll take a peek at my video, that last one I did, the relaxation aquarium chill is what the thumbnail says. And take a look at those plants. That center pot has huge leaves. That's a banana plant.
Is it?
Yeah, I just buried the bananas, the tubers, into the gravel, so it would be a leaf. I didn't want the goldfish chewing on the banana part of it. It's grown hugely. And then you see the stalks, and every one of those, there's a couple of different style of aquarium lily in there. They've covered, their pads are so big, and they've covered so much of the top. Not a lot of light gets through now. And the Aponogetans, I would say the Aponogetans are losing the battle against the goldfish, but they've grown that tender leaf all the way to the surface and across the surface, just like a jungle val or something. But when the goldfish want to chew something, it's one of those leaves. So occasionally you can see a bare stalk.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like I put the goldfish in there and then a week later they ate all the plants. Some of the plants are thriving. They're eating a few leaves, but if I would have just followed common wisdom, and I wouldn't have had the beautiful goldfish tank. I broke a rule. It's working out. I mean, tomorrow they could become savage vegetarians and eat everything in there. But if you look at that video, you can tell those plants have grown in over a period of time and seem to be doing well with the goldfish.
Yeah, I use the 30-gallon bow front, the goldfish tank right now, as that's where I put all my clippings, and nothing's survived it. They've ate everything, but I figured if it takes it, it'll take.
Right.
But that's where, like, if I have any clippings from something, or if I accidentally get some duckweed in something, I just goes immediately to that tank, and I've never had it take off because they just devour it. So I've never had duckweed in any tank because they eat it so well.
Lucas Brett's taught me how to get rid of duckweed if I ever wanted to. Once I got koi, I didn't need this tip. You know, I like to grow it and give it to the koi as a snack. But and by the way, it's a good water filter, duckweed is. But he said it doesn't like being wet, and if you'll mist the top of it, it'll take care of itself in no time. So a little sprayer misting on top, done.
I'm not sure. It might have been from him too. I'm not sure. I've heard that too, that if you didn't want it, just kind of spray it with a spray bottle type thing. But I've never had it take off because they just devour it.
I remember one of my fish keeping friends laughed when I bought a bunch of duckweed from Corey. Corey started selling duckweed for $5 a bag, and people were like, "You're crazy. Nobody's going to buy that stuff. That's like a disease." And so sure enough, as soon as he offered it, it was all gone. People bought it as fast, and I was one of them. And so my friend said, "Well, don't ever buy it again. I'll give you all you want." And then I understood. Once I got it going in all of my tanks, I didn't have to buy any or ask anybody else for any. But I never seemed to mind it. I've always enjoyed the duckweed.
I want it now really bad for the rice fish tubs. I don't know why. I want it so bad because with the rice fish, from what my understanding, this is the first time I've had them. I've had the Pearl Galaxy and the Daisy Blue rice fish. And the tubs, those, because they're a little bit smaller, they fluctuate a little bit more than the bigger ones. But I feel like if I had some of that for shade and then they could hide under it, it would do them well. But I need to get some first. I don't know. In my head, it makes sense. If it's true, I don't know. But I feel like I really want some for like to let it grow for the first time in those rice fish tubs.
That would be fun. Some of the people in your chat are commenting that duckweed outside survives rain.
Yeah, I would assume it would, but I don't know from my experience with the water lettuce. I don't know. I feel like duckweed would survive anything from everybody that I've talked to, but
it's the apocalyptic plant.
Yeah, since I haven't had it grow personally in the fish room, I know once I probably get it, I'll regret it because it'll be everywhere. But I feel like I really want it in the outside tubs for the rice fish. And then I guess if it gets out of control, I'll just feed it to the goldfish.
Jesse says you can take care of it HC Aqua with a blowtorch. You get your cigar lighter after it.
Yeah, we do have some pretty awesome people here tonight. I really do appreciate everybody showing up. HC Aqua has some pretty epic fish, too.
No question.
Well, do you have any, since it's kind of wrapping up towards the end, only have the last few minutes, is there anything you wanted to say?
Just to encourage everyone to keep encouraging everyone. This YouTube bit is a grind. I know you work very hard at it, Kerri. I appreciate your effort and the encouragement you guys have through support, showing up, chatting, participating, liking, sharing. As cliche as it sounds, it matters. It's a real dose of encouragement, and some of you are really good at it. If you're not, give it a whirl. Keep up the good work. Keep showing up, and don't be afraid to leave feedback. If there's something you like, don't like, would rather see more of, that's positive engagement too.
It really helps because I don't have a lot of people to jump ideas off. So when people leave comments like, hey, can you show more of this? Or can you mention more of that? It is really helpful to kind of give me an idea of what more I can share. Because I kind of get in my own little box. And sometimes it's nice to have another point of view. It really does help. And I don't get offended. Like, I get a lot of comments in the beginning of my video when I first started posting videos that my volume was so loud and really hard to watch. So then, because everybody told me, I learned what I needed to do. So even like just criticism, I think it helps kind of teaches me what I need to work on. Because YouTube is it's one thing to fish keep, but it's a whole other thing to fish keep and share it.
Amen.
I love to show and tell you guys everything that's going on, but the editing and the how-to, and it's all new. So I could probably share it a lot more and share a lot faster in a timely manner if I knew what I was doing.
You know quite a bit, Kerri. You're doing very well, and
it's a learning curve, but
you're out there after the information. You're getting it. You're applying it, and I really appreciate you inviting me into your YouTube brand tonight. I enjoyed being here. I appreciate you letting me come on board.
Well, you're a superstar in my eyes, so. Fish tubers are my celebrity because I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. So you guys, and I try my best to keep up with every video that I possibly can, but sometimes I just miss something. But you guys are my friends, my celebrities, like my go-to helpers.
I feel that way too.
Yeah. But I appreciate you guys so much. And I really do thank you for coming on to the show tonight and chit-chatting with me. I didn't really have too much of a game plan because when I line out questions and everything, I get so nervous. So I like to just kind of have a chit-chat with everybody. So again, just Thank you for being here, and I will see everybody next week at 5 o'clock. And then your stream is Thursday.
Thursday at 10:30 following KG Tropicals.
Yes, because it's 9:30 my time, so Central Time 10:30, right? Is that what you said? Yes.
It's 10:30 Eastern.
Eastern, yeah. 9:30 Central. I'm trying to get these time zones. I forget sometimes that when I'm talking to people to ask them on, I'm like, yeah, 5 o'clock. And they're like, what time zone? I forget not everybody lives in this Missouri. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to Rack for being here, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. See you guys.